It was dark. I tried to find the light switch, but my hand pathetically swiped over the cold walls. Every fiber of my body froze except my face, which grew hotter and hotter as my heart beat faster and faster. My hand jerked upwards and downwards, yet nothing found but smooth wallpaper. I dreaded what awaited for me at its end, but due to the lack of options, I was forced to retreat to the lightless room. My hands let go of the wall and clumsily ran into the darkness, unable to navigate at all. No matter how much I ran, I was unable to find any wall, any door, any end. I heard thundering footsteps above me again, moving towards me. My heart stopped for a moment as the air grew colder, and I waited for the fearful tears leaking out of my eyes. It was so much to take. I tried to run back the way I came, but I had entirely lost my sense of orientation. All I knew is that the thick shadows were gnawing at my sanity, and my silence was so loud, so pronounced and unbearable. It was worse than the footsteps, as I tripped on something and hit my arm on a solid surface. The wall. But what was on there was the ground? I was scared to touch it, to search for it. I tried to take in the smell of the room. The dusty old smell of an old rotting house had been in every room but this one. No one else, something else was rotting. I thought, involuntarily. But no. Wait, what nonsense. There has to be a rotting corpse on the ground. A rotting, moldy, maggot-filled corpse. My naked feet suddenly felt as if something was being brushed up against them. Something small and slimy. Something white. But things cannot feel white, can they? I wanted to get out of this corner. I wanted to get away from this corpse. This is not me, I told myself. It is your room, a voice in my head replied. My bedroom, my bed. I was so tired. I felt so unsafe. I never felt like I needed someone else around me. I hated being human contact, but in that moment, my heart was filled with desire for comfort, safety, and a mother. You cannot have your mother, but comfort, safety, the voice urged me on. Go to bed. It is your bed. I was obedient and lay down on the bed. Before I had given it much thought, hiding under my blanket. Even before the monster comes. The monster, I changed into a fetal position, pulling a blanket over my head, unable to bear the thought of a monster appearing in my room. Not my room. It cannot be in my room. My room is safe. My room is inhabited by maggots. Maggots eating their way through a corpse. Your corpse. Your smelling, stinking, rotting corpse. The voice in my head compelled to my sentence. No, I whispered frantically. No. This is not what I wanted to say. Who cares about what you wanted to say if what I say is true? The voice in my head whispered to my ear. I could feel the hot breath, smell the unpleasant scent of fouling tongue, and its words penetrated my mind. But this could not be. I was in bed. I was safe. I was under my blanket. My body relaxed. Nothing happened. The silence seemed to be more comforting and welcoming each sound. I dared to look up from under my blanket to see what was not as bad. The last bits of moonlight caressed through my window, and I saw my room being usual as ever. It was not wide and spacious. It was my room. It was not cold. It was my room. It was not dusty. It was my room. The door was ajar, all right, but it was my room. The light switch was. I tried to scan for my room before it, but it was still too dark, and I tried not to care. The corpse is rotten. It is your room. The taunting whisper in my head let me know. No, I told myself. There is no corpse. There is, the voice replied. Look for yourself. I could not help it, and saw something right next to me on the floor. I had never seen anything as disgusting as before. The ground was green and white, and the mold spreading everywhere like cobwebs. The carpet was full of rotten bits of flesh. The corpse's head was disfigured beyond recognition, and out of its eyes crawled hundreds and thousands of tiny, nasty, slimy maggots, shimmering in the moonlight. I retreated under my blanket. It was just a dream. Just a dream. It was worse, was it not? Because if it was a dream, who will hear you scream? Who will save you? Mommy won't. The voice snickered. Go away! I screamed into my mind. Why? Are you not so lonely? Do you not so long for a comforting companion? I can cheer you up forever and ever and ever, the voice laughed. I buried my fearful face deeper and deeper into the dusty, mold-smelly bed. I wanted to be away from that corpse. I felt like prickling on my face. It's the maggots, I told myself, involuntarily. It was repulsed immediately. And then, the voice continued shakily, as if in an attempt to control its laughter. Then I gross you out ever and ever and ever. It will never be boring. It will ever be so lonely. I found it hard to breathe, but I pressed my face even deeper into the repulsive bed. And then something happened that made my blood freeze. My heart stopped. The silence had been intruded upon by the light. Slow footsteps. Footsteps circling me, my bed, my teary face still buried into the rotting fabric. I heard the footsteps becoming louder, faster, and more vigorous. I stopped breathing. I knew it was pathetic, but I still tried to cling to the hope. The illusion that the monster did not know where I am, that I was well hidden, that I was safe. Stop hiding. I'll find you. I'll find you always, anyways, and always. The voice screamed now madly, but outside my head. I waited so long. The footsteps had stopped at last. This silence was unbearable. This air seemed heavy. I almost ran out of breath and turned to my face so it was away from the mattress. Suddenly a white hand, and a hand with a bloody claws, penetrated my safe harbor, my blanket. I was horrified and felt my body twitch. The hand moves towards me slowly. Its movements not unlike a disgusting spider. It grabbed my hand forcefully, tried to pull me out of there. Then a second hand pulled away the blanket completely, and I stared into the disfigured pale face. I won, the creature spoke. As its red mouth moved, I noticed rows of sharp yellow teeth. Repulsed, I tried to look away, but my eyes caught its glowing yellow eyes. Merry Christmas, it spoke. Its lips curled into a sickening smile, blood flowing out from its thin lips. Face to face I was with what seemed to be a disfigured, horrifying Christmas elf, in a red hat that rippled dirty and full of dry blood. The temperature seemed to drop for a couple of 100 degrees. I screamed so loud, I woke myself up and fell out of bed. For a moment I expected to see the monster, as close to my face as before. Then the clarity of the memories of my horrible dream faded away. I can only remember waking up in the night, needing the toilet. The smell, the footsteps, the darkness, but it was all just a dream. My mother can save me. Mom? She probably did not send anything this year, but this year as well. Christmas without presents, without friends, family, the holiday of love, while feeling like the least loved person on earth. But wait, there is a package, right next to me, under the window, right where the corpse, but now it just seems to be a stupid dream. I took it, not since suspicious, and then when I saw that inside that unsuspectingly brown package was a present, stored in a festive red and gold wrapping, the letters Merry Christmas written all over it. My pulse went up rapidly. With twitching, trembling hands, I took out a mirror, and even though every fiber of my body told me not to, something just made me look into it. And what I saw was beyond horrifying, terrifying, disgusting, disturbing. No, what it was like looked back at me was no less than a face of the rotting corpse, slimy, tiny, hungry maggots crawling out of its eyes as they ate their way through the rotten flesh. The voice snickered behind me. Merry, oh most of Merry Christmas.